Hello, my name is Julian Carrington, and I'm a programmer with the Planet in Focus Environmental Film Festival. And it is my pleasure to be joined for Q&A by Lucia Mauri, who is the co-director of Intrecci, Etici, the revolution of sustainable fashion in Italy. Lucia, thank you for making time to speak with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's a real pleasure. To begin with, I know that this isn't your first film that celebrates artisans and traditional craftsmanship, and it's clear from the very loving way that you film several of your characters and even their machinery, that you have a passion for the subject matter. So I'm curious, where does that interest in sustainable craftsmanship originate, and what prompted you to make the film?
Well, thank you in advance. And of course, me and Lorenzo, we work together, and we've always been very interested in this topic of craftsmanship, but also to sustainability. And with this film, Intrecci, Etici, we talk about sustainable fashion, and everything started from our need to find more about this topic as a consumer. We just wanted to become more sustainable and to understand how we can make a positive impact with our actions. So for us, everything we made, it involves craftsmanship and sustainability, because for us, documentary filmmaking, it has such an important role in making culture and raise awareness on topic that we find very interested in. So that's it. We just wanted to share with the others what we discovered to be more sustainable. And I think it's also because we in Italy have a great tradition of craftsmanship, and we wanted to enhance it.
Well, speaking of discovery and wanting to share your discovery, how many of your characters were familiar to you before you started the process of making the film? And for the others, how did you go about identifying them and choosing who you wanted to feature?
Well, I think that we knew half of the character before deciding to make this documentary, because as I said before, we were doing some research for our own. So then when we decided, okay, now we have a story to tell, we decided to just spend months of researching and scouting other stories. What we wanted to do is to incorporate a wider range of characters. So in the film, you can find like the young designer that works with the leftover fabrics, but also the big denim company that has just started their own sustainable journey. So we just wanted to give to the people a broader, a wider overview on how sustainable fashion is here in Italy, even like the younger companies and also the older ones, because this is so important for us that sustainability reaches everyone.
Well, you spoke earlier about there being a tradition of artisanship and craftsmanship in Italy. And I wonder whether you feel like that makes Italy a particularly fertile place for this growing movement. I'm curious, is there a widespread conversation happening in Italy about fashion and the circular economy? And I'm also curious, I think in North America, we think of Italy as a very sort of fashionable, fashion-forward country with a fashion media that I'm sure is quite visible. Is this a topic that is being discussed within Italy's fashion media as well?
No, unfortunately, not so much, not enough. Italy is, I think, in my opinion, quite behind respect with other countries regarding the sustainable topics. Of course, we have, like you said, an amazing tradition of craftsmanship, and this is what, in my opinion, nurture this movement. But we are not talking about this topic enough, especially in the Italian media. We talk about environment a lot, but sustainable fashion is still a very niche subject. What is good is that this niche is growing, especially because consumer as millennials and the Gen Z are now asking for more sustainable clothes, and the market is moving in this direction. But regarding media, we're still a bit behind, like other countries, like for example, France.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious then, your film, what has been the response? Because I'm sure it's created some conversation, I would imagine, if it's not a conversation that's been happening already. So how have people responded to you since the film has aired in Italy?
They responded very good, especially like in film festival, but also like shops and association want to spread the word about sustainability. So there's this movement like underground, which people want to show the film in the schools, in private and public events, because everyone that has wants to talk about sustainability want this word to be spread. So yeah, a conversation has started, and we are taking it like further.
One step at a time. Wonderful. The film, I think it conveys that our addiction to fast fashion is actually quite a new phenomenon, and really it's in recent decades that the fashion industry seems to be increasingly driven by trends and efforts to get consumers to continuously expand their wardrobes. It strikes me that social media probably has also played a significant role in accelerating and feeding into our impulse to consume. What are your strategies to resist that mindset?
Well, first of all, I agree absolutely with what you just said, and my strategy is like an advice is just to think more before buying something. This is something that we don't do so often, like to really ask ourselves if we need that garment, or we just want to buy it because the thrill of it, or because it just makes us feel good to have something new, because the price is really low, so it's convenient. But really, we should think more before buying something, if it's going to last more, if we're going to wear it until it breaks apart. So we have really to switch our mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a challenge, I think, but
yeah,
but I think the film does make that point of really sort of thinking about what you need and buying better as opposed to in abundance. I'm so curious to know more about the kinds of consumers who are actually embracing slow fashion and who have that patience to buy
to
made
wait.
to order. Yeah, exactly. Because that's another thing that I feel like we increasingly don't have. It's like immediate. We want things delivered the same day, even not even the next day now. So I'm curious. Did your subjects tell you more about some of their clients and who the kinds of people are that are embracing this slightly more patient and sustainable approach to their buying habits?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some common feature. So from what we've observed, their customer are like 85% women. This is like the first thing that comes to their mind when we ask them. And they really, this type of customers, they really evaluate the craftsmanship that is behind a garment, especially when it is made and crafted just for them. With like a made to order system, as you said, it makes them feel special. Like there's something that I made just for you, so you feel special because of that. Also, artisan can create strong bonds and connection with their customers, and social media made this possible. So people now want to know, almost like in person, like the person, the people who makes their clothes, and they want to share the same values with them. So be always even updated on their business journey. So I think relationship and transparency are two like main pillars for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your film does stress the importance of consumer choice and consumer power in in this situation and in this
Yeah.
dynamic. I'm wondering though, if we're entirely leaving these choices to sort of the market, I feel like it could be challenging again to counteract the acceleration of fast fashion because the incentives are geared towards growth and perpetual consumption. Are there any policies that can be adopted that might aid consumers in making ethical decisions? Your characters, they talk about the need for transparency in purchasing. Have there been any efforts undertaken in Italy or elsewhere that you're aware of to mandate more information for consumers about how their clothes or their products are made?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is not mandatory. We are, as I said, in Italy, a little bit behind other countries about this topic, and this is really a pity for me because, like, for the food and the cosmetic sector, as it is said in the documentary, there are strong regulation and transparency is mandatory. But now we know, like, through the label of our clothes, where something is made, and maybe the consumption of the composition of the fabric, but a lot of information is missing. We know nothing about, like, the workers of that company, if they were treated good or not, paid enough. So we are asking for it, but nothing has changed like already. But what is good to see is that even if, like, the government has not made a regulation about this, like, the good companies, let's call them like the good companies, are now sharing their information. And from what I've seen, be transparent is really rewarding to them in terms of customers' trust. So I hope that this, like, brings, like, a positive circle.
By way of bringing our conversation to a close, I'm curious about your future plans. Obviously, this is a topic that you know, as we mentioned earlier, is sort of near to your heart. I'm wondering, do you have plans to explore it further? I feel like it would be really great to see. We spoke about the clients. It would be wonderful to see some stories potentially about tastemakers, people who are influential and who are committed to sustainable fashion. I feel like that's the kind of story that might help us counteract some of these more consumerist influences. Do you have any plans to explore it further, or what's next for you?
Well, that would be a great idea, by the way. Thank you, Julian, for the hint. And for now, we are making a podcast of Intrecci Etici. Unfortunately, it's in Italian only for now, because we're still telling the stories of Italian businesses. But we found out, like, a lot of inspiring stories. There's, like, for example, a company which makes like the t-shirt from waste from milk. So that is incredible for me. Or also another company in Sicily which makes like fabrics from the waste of oranges. So we just wanted to continue to explore this topic about sustainable fashion, and even to, like, give a voice to all of these little businesses in Italy that are doing something great, I think.
A podcast is such a cool idea.
Thank you.
And yes, a slight shame for us English speakers that it is only in Italian, but maybe this is another opportunity for us to practice patience and wait and see if it becomes available to us in English, or perhaps someone can build on your concept for English speakers, because
that would be cool.
See how an opportunity to regularly hear about these sorts of craftsmen and again, sort of maybe the community that is growing around sustainable fashion. It would be wonderful. But I would just say, while we await the podcast, thank you so much for the film, which is wonderful, and we're so glad.
Thank you for selecting it. We're so glad, really glad that you selected it. It's our first selection in, like, outside Europe. So that is so cool.
The international premiere. So for those of you watching at home, congrats on being the first audience outside of Europe to see the film. And thank you again, Lucia, for making it.
Thank you, Julian.